I just had to call in because I think CNN is so liberal, and I think Fox is great.
Yes, I'd like to ask Brian to, on national television, admit he and his network are a bunch of liars about Donald Trump. The Inspector
Can you tell me
General
the lie?
Came out.
Can you tell me what lie?
The lie is that he cleared that protest out so he could be there. That was a lie that you and your network told, and that's all I got to say to you. I can't stand.
All right, that's Gordon this morning. Brian Stelter.
Yeah, Mr. Stelter is the biggest minister of misinformation I have ever heard, and I'm a news junkie.
My suggestion is whatever CNN says, do the opposite, and you'll be fine.
Down goes Brian Stelter. Down goes Brian Stelter. Down goes Brian Stelter. Finally, in what is a bittersweet moment, Brian Stelter is officially out at CNN. He is out. Okay, out. Right? He lost his job. Fired. And what is a long overdue move from CNN to finally get rid of their worst news anchor. I'm telling you guys, Brian Stelter, without a doubt, is the dumbest person on television. He is the most untalented news anchor on mainstream news. I'm telling you, this guy should have been fired a long time ago, right? But, you know, hey, better late than never, but never late is better, okay? So, yeah, this comes after Brian Stelter made headlines because he recently reversed track on the Hunter Biden story, in which he says that it's not just a Fox World story or a right-wing media story. It is a real story. After, in the past, essentially denying the Hunter Biden story was true, essentially saying what the rest of the mainstream liberal media was saying, which is that it was a Russian disinformation campaign.
It's that time of year again. But the closing argument is not about immigration. It's an echo of 2016. It's about emails again. This time, emails from Joe Biden's son, Hunter. So let's take a look at how a storyline is manufactured. There it is, the New York Post front page announcing Biden secret emails. More shadiness involving Hunter Biden. As political entertainment goes, this is not a brand new TV show. It's just a new season of the show. CNN reported on Friday that U.S. authorities are seeing if those emails we just talked about are connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort. There's a lot about this story that does not add up. And clearly Twitter and Facebook have learned lessons from the past. And Twitter blocked the link to the New York Post. For all we know, these emails are made up, or maybe some are real and others are fakes. We don't know. But we do know that this is a classic example of the right-wing media machine. What about Hunter? Hunter under federal investigation. Charges could be coming at any time. This is not just a right-wing media story. This is a real problem for the Bidens. Could he decide not to run for re-election, given his son? But we do know that this is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
Yeah, a complete 180 here from Brian Stelter on Hunter Biden, in which when I did a video on that video at the time, I said that he was trying to save his job, right? And it turns out I was correct. That probably is the reason why he said that. He knew he was on the way out the door. The writing was on the wall, right? And this is probably the most embarrassing moment for Brian Stelter, despite all the embarrassing moments that he's had throughout his career, like the time that he basically got roasted on his own show.
I think the media has done a terrible job on this. I think you yourself, while you're a nice guy, you're full of sanctimony. You become part of one of the parts of the problem of the media. You come on here and you have a monopoly on truth. You know exactly how things are supposed to be done. You are one of the reasons people can't stand the media. Sorry.
You're cracking me up.
It's your fault.
So what should I do differently, Michael?
Don't talk so much. Listen more. People have genuine problems with the media. The media doesn't get the story right. The media exists in its own bubble.
That's true. I agree.
You got to stop. I mean, that last segment that I just had to listen to of all of the people saying the same old stuff. Also, you're incredibly repetitive. It's week after week. I mean, you're the flip side of Donald Trump. Fake news, and you say virtuous news.
No,
there's
we just figure out what is
here.
real.
I mean,
yeah, I'm listening.
Well, figuring out what is real is not so easy, and
right.
Most people don't want to turn to Brian Stelter to tell us what's real. I'm sorry.
Well, then why'd you bother coming on CNN a few times this week?
I'm a book salesman.
Michael, I love talking to you.
Or the time that he was obviously bootlicking the Democrat Party, throwing Jen Psaki softball questions.
Jen, thanks for coming on Reliable Sources.
My pleasure.
Busy summer ahead, infrastructure, election reform. What does the press get wrong when covering Biden's agenda? When you watch the news, when you read the news, what do you think we get wrong? Well, there's a version on the liberal blogs of something that goes like this. Psaki smacks down, Psaki shuts down a questioner. It's this narrative that we're seeing, people celebrating you for doing it. And yet that kind of reminds me of cable news and the way that the cable news engages. I'm not sure that's always actually good for the country, even though it might be entertaining.
Yeah, so just some of the more embarrassing moments in his career. I have plenty of them to share with you guys. However, the video would be God knows how long if I shared all of it. So with that being said, in the spirit of trying to keep the video a little bit shorter, let's just read about this. Brian Stelter getting fired here and go from there. CNN is dropping a Sunday show, Reliable Sources, while its host, Brian Stelter, is exiting the network. A spokesperson for CNN said, quote, CNN will end its Reliable Sources program on Sunday, August 21st. As a result, Brian Stelter will leave the company. We appreciate his contributions to the network and wish him well as he embarks on new endeavors. Yeah, so they fired this guy, right? They straight up fired him, which, I mean, again, it was rumored that this was going to happen, right? That the new CEO, Chris Lynch, didn't like how obviously partisan some of these CNN news anchors were, like Brian Stelter, like Don Lemon, etc. They was like, look, you guys got to start being less biased, more neutral, stop being such propaganda artists. And, there was just rumors that Brian Stelter wasn't clicking, right? Because he was the water boy at CNN, and he used to be the last guy's, go-to guy, right? He's the guy in the company that knows everything, right? He knows everything. He's the community snitch, right? The corporate snitch, okay? And again, apparently, when new management came in, it didn't necessarily jail right? It didn't jail well. So there was always rumors that he was on the way out the door. It was just a matter of time. The show's new team was notified on the show's team was notified of the cancellation on Thursday. Their jobs also are being cut, but they will be given the opportunity to apply for new jobs at CNN, according to the network. Stelter did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but he said in a statement to NPR, quote, it was a rare privilege to lead a weekly show focused on the press at a time when it has never been more consequential. Wow, so this guy, his bad performance got his whole team fired, right? His whole team got fired, not just him. His exit is one of the biggest moves so far at the network under new chairman and CEO Chris Lynch, who joined the network on May 1st. Network staffers have been expecting significant changes with a bit of unease, given that Discovery's takeover of Warner Media, CNN's parent, is forcing significant cuts across the company. Even before Lynch started, the new Warner Bros. Discovery quickly shut down the network's subscription streaming service, CNN Plus, just weeks after launch. The service included a daily version of Reliable Sources. This dude's just a failure all across the board, bro. Just a failure all across the board. Amy Antilles, Executive Vice President of Talent and Content Development of CNN Worldwide, said in a statement, Stelter came to CNN from the New York Times as the nation's top media reporter, a.k.a. one of the nation's top propagandists. He departs CNN, an impeccable broadcaster. We are proud of what Brian and his team accomplished over the years, and we're confident their impact and influence will long outlive the show. Yeah, the memes, right? The memes will outlive the show, okay? That is the lasting legacy of Brian Stelter, right? That's absolutely hilarious. Reliable sources started 3 decades ago, but Stelter began hosting it in 2013, overhauling the program and adding a daily newsletter under the same name. Stelter also has been a frequent on-air presence doing CNN's news programming, particularly in commenting on Donald Trump and his attacks on the media. That made Stelter a frequent target on the right and from hosts on Fox News for his coverage of Trump and the CNN rival. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I agree that Brian Stelter has been a frequent target of those on the right because he's just low-hanging fruit. I mean, let's keep it 100. And that is why this is bittersweet. That's why this is bittersweet. Although I like seeing Brian Stelter go, right, because he was terrible at his job, I believe in merit, and Brian Stelter and his job performance was terrible, so he should be fired. Again, it's bad for me because I won't be able to make fun of the guy anymore, right? I won't be able to make videos about him anymore, okay? I remember I probably make videos about Brian Stelter at least once every 3 weeks, okay? He was a huge part of my content, right? So I'm going to be losing that, right, because CNN made this move. So, yeah, I'm kind of sad, but at the same time, hey, like I said, the guy was failing. Let's just see if Joy Reid is next, right? Word on the street is Joy Reid may be out of the door at MSNBC. I highly doubt that one because she has black woman privilege, right? So they're not just going to let go of her any kind of way, even though her show is failing just as bad as Brian Stelter's show is failing. But we'll see. That's the next one to watch. Anyways, like I said, man, I made great memories roasting Brian Stelter. Maybe he'll catch on somewhere else. Or who knows? Maybe he'll start his own YouTube channel like Chris Cuomo. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.